Wait, wait. Geistig gesquat kapiniskis. Oki, bonjour, bonjour, hola. Hello, however you're showing up, wherever you're showing up. If I haven't said hello in a way that speaks to your heart, body, mind, and spirit, please feel free to say hi in the chat and just say hi anyway. We're very excited to have all of you here. You should find that at the bottom of your screen, along with react buttons if you want to send us some emojis, because you know we're in webinar mode because thousands of you sign up for these workshops. So we can't fit everyone in. A couple of people found them. That's beautiful. We can't fit everyone's faces in. So we appreciate you showing up. There's also a Q&A box if you want to ask questions. And if you want to turn on a transcript or closed captions, if that helps you to experience this workshop more clearly, please feel free. And if you have any questions about that, you can ask us in the chat. I am so excited to be here with you. Friends, it is October 7th, and we have Learning Through Life Cycles, a spotlight on salmon for you. And my goodness, what a wonderful time to be sharing this. And so, my personal connection and my land acknowledgement, firstly, is that on Sinixt territory, alongside the banks of Sinhuinhuichqua, the Swift River, and behind me in these photos is the Illecillewaet River, which means broad river in the language of this place until Chin. This river flows through Chukwetmakulu as well. It crosses through, it goes to the headlands at Tanaha territory, and from the south for folks who travelled up here for trade and fishing and hunting from the Okanagan Silk Nation too. And this river, for the first time, thanks to the work of Indigenous people from those nations, we have had a Columbia River salmon reintroduction program. And for the first time this year, tagged salmon's made it from the ocean back up into this river, higher than they ever have before since the dams. The Columbia River, Sinhuidhuitkwa, is one of the most dammed rivers in the world. And so it is like, it's a special year. It's a special year. Two tagged, non-invasive tags made it back. So that's beautiful. And last week, in honor of BC Rivers Day, we had 140 kids in my local school district. Here I am actually teaching about with the resources that came in this kit. This is us doing our introduction before we went and did interactive story time. And then we went over to do our fish salmon run obstacle course, which was challenging. And I have to say, a highlight of all the different learning stations. But this means so much to me, this work. Salmon, they're just behind these photos as well as a little creek where kokanee salmon come to spawn. And so children were connecting with salmon, they were connecting with place all day in rotation. And so that is what's making my heart really happy in this space. And I'm very, very grateful to have the opportunity to learn alongside and with these beautiful natural teachers. Okay, friends, wherever you're calling in from, which we'll find out later, and some friends are sharing that in the chat, I appreciate you. Um, Maybe you've had a big day. Maybe like me, you've had family members go through hospital things in the last couple of weeks and you've got big sort of achy hearts, and maybe they're fine and that's great. Maybe there's just lots of layers to what you're doing. Maybe you're working all day or you've got kids and you've got all kinds of things going on. So we just wanted to take a second to let you know that we care about you. And we are so glad that you're here joining us, and we recognize that we're outdoor folk inside on the box, right? So whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching this in a recording form, we're glad you're here. So we're going to have 30 seconds of breathing, ideally in through our nose and out through our mouth or nose, and just really focusing on the breath. And we're going to look at some beautiful fish. They're not salmon, they're trevally. I don't have sounds for you, but maybe you want to close your eyes. But I'm just going to probably just take three really big deep breaths in and out. And one more. Thank you so much. We know that nature is a fantastic healer and sharer and helping us to get into our parasympathetic nervous system, our rest and digest state. I recognize that we don't always have the opportunity to do that. And so thank you for being with us here for a moment. Okay, you know us. We're always on the go. We are offering these free workshops, but we also do a lot of learning. We just had the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation in Canada, September 30th, and we've got National Indigenous Peoples Day coming up in October if you're in the US or beyond. And this is our way of committing to a year-long, lifelong learning. This is our 4 seasons of Indigenous learning course. There are four progressive situations and learning spaces to go through that get more and more decolonized as you go through and build relationship with your place, languages, and people. And then we all come together, whichever season you're on, to hear from a diverse group of Indigenous speakers with different things to say that's personal to them about truth and reconciliation. We really hope you'll join us. There's a sliding scale, and all of the funds we make go into supporting our Indigenous creators and authors and presenters. So we really hope you'll engage with us. Our early years, folks, we've got a walking curriculum for the early years starting this week. Last chance, we start tomorrow. If you want to join us to learn from these phenomenal humans who are doing research, practice, and pedagogy around early years learning in a really engaging way, then we hope you join us. October, again, next week, we start with the incredible Monique Gray Smith, who's going to take us through her book, Braiding Sweetgrass. It says young adults, but it's for everyone, of how you can embed these kind of practices in your classroom. And it's all about a soft, warm, loving learning space. It's a magical thing. And if you're interested in learning about social emotional learning things, I am a trained counsellor, and I've got the amazing Laura McLean with me, where we're going to focus on both student and educator social emotional learning within the K to 8 space. And there will also be some adaptations for older students if you're a teacher of older students. So we hope you might join us there. Do you teach Indigenous youth? Are you Indigenous or do you work with Indigenous youth? Our incredible Director of Indigenous Learning, Jenna Jasic, is here doing Working Together. I'm not going to pronounce it the Secret Machine because I don't have it. And it's a beautiful word that I don't want to not get right. So this is about supporting Indigenous children through nature-based learning and honouring those ways of being. And we hope you will join us. That's going to be a moving space. Then Monique Gray Smith's coming back to host four of her favourite authors to talk about storytelling and how that impacts hearts, minds, and spirits. If you haven't joined for one of these, it is an hour of just diving into being awash with story and love and interesting ways of thinking. It is magical. So we hope you'll join us for one or any of those. And if you can't join us, just know that we have these offerings and we want them to for you. If we don't have something that suits you, you can write us a message to or just me, Jade at outdoorlearning.com, and I will try and put something on that suits you. Okay, my beautiful co-host Rachel.
Hi, everybody. My name's Rachel. I'm from Take Me Outside. And just before this session, me and the lovely presenters that are here today, we were just talking about how like water is a connector, and I'm not near any salmon, unfortunately, but I am really fortunate to be in Winnipeg, Manitoba, where the two rivers that intersect throughout our city are just such a connecting point for us and for the community of Winnipeg. And so I'm so happy to be joining you tonight and feeling very grateful to be joining you from Treaty 1 territory, the original lands of the Anishinaabe, the Inahuac, and the Dakota, which is all, and then Manitoba is also the national homeland of the Red River Métis. So before we get started today, I just want to share some upcoming opportunities we have with Take Me Outside. First up is our outdoor learning certification program. This course has been here for almost over a year, and we have over 1,500 educators from around the world who have participated in this course so far. And we've recently updated it to incorporate some of the feedback from the first wave of folks who have taken the course. This 30-hour asynchronous course is now offered in French as well. So if you're a French educator, it has been completely translated and is offered completely in French, including French virtual sessions that are hosted by one of my colleagues. So if you're interested in learning more, Jade has put the link in the chat. And we're also really excited that we've just recently announced a brand new course specifically for early years educators. So with the certification course, a common feedback we got is, well, is this okay? Is this for me, I'm an early years educator and I want to take it. So we took that feedback. We've been working with early childhood educators to develop a course for early childhood educators. So you can learn how to integrate outdoor play and learning into practice using effective strategies and resources in this interactive online course for early childhood educators working with ages 0 to 6. So that link is in the chat as well. And there are 2 weeks until Take Me Outside Week. So this is our annual flagship event. It's our biggest event. We're super excited this year. Take Me Outside Day and Week. If you're not familiar with it, it's a free event. You can register you and your class, your school, your community for free on our website. And we've got a really amazing lineup of speakers this year, including Dr. David Suzuki. So this is all happening from October 20th to 24th, and we hope to see you there.
Thank you so much, Rachel. If you haven't participated, Take Me Outside Week is amazing. And these things happen during your school day, right? So you can watch them with your class, you can engage, you can do things outside of that as well. There's just so much to offer. Okay, friends, we're really interested in who's joining us. So there's a really quick poll here for you. First one asks, who are you in terms of your educator hat? And maybe you're not a true educator. We think educating is anyone that shares information, which I think we all do in some way, shape, or form. There is a button if you're not strictly an educator. And then where you're joining us is very North America. It's what some people call Turtle Island centric. But if you're joining us from the rest of the world, please share in the chat where you're joining us from because we care about you too. There's just limited boxes. And we're just trying to get a figure for who. From Costa Rica, Pura Vida. What a beautiful place. Gorgeous, gorgeous place. Welcome, Jeff. Okay, friends, I'm going to leave it open for just 3 or more seconds here. I know if not everyone, not all nearly 300 of us will get a chance to fill it in because you have to be quite quick on the typing, but we want to get to the awesome central part of our workshop very soon here. So here we go. I'm going to end it in 3, 2, 1. I'm going to share the results for you just so you can get a quick idea. So as far as we could come up with all the different ways that people educate, right? Mostly early childhood K to 3 is the biggest, but we have someone representing every kind of educational space. And my gosh, are we grateful for you. We got a strong Western Canada lens today. Appreciate that. It's the land of the salmon. But each and every one of you has shown up, whether you're watching this live or in the recording. You've shown up for us. You've shown up for salmon. You've shown up for the environment. You've shown up for your community. And we are grateful. We're incredibly grateful that you're here. It actually makes me rather emotional how many people turn up. So we wonder if you could just share one thing in the chat that you care about deeply and are grateful for connected to water. So we know that gratitude practices actually neurologically restructure the brain. So I wonder if we could just get a fun little waterfall going before we dive in here, to get seeing what people were saying. Oh, salmon, food, life, water is life, sustenance, frogs. Oh, my nan was obsessed with frogs. I love frogs. Oh, look at this. That's so nice. I find that even more relaxing than the fish swirling, I have to say. Thank you so much. That is so nice. I'm going to keep moving forward, but the waterfall of words can continue to come in as I just showcase really quickly how many people, over 100 outdoor learning partners, these organizations, primarily nonprofits, care about this work. They're on our website. You can hit them up for resources or connections to place or possibly even funding for some of them. And all of them are committed to this work that we're doing here to spend more time outside learning. But we've got to it. We've found a good fishing spot and we've hooked a couple of fantastic educators to share with us to learn about life cycles with a spotlight on salmon. And Molly, I mean, I could read this long thing, incredible, but what Molly is known in the circles that I sort of swim in, let's say, is one of the greatest, most pioneering environmental educators there is, who has not only written this kit that you can see on the right hand side that I was teaching with a week ago, but has created ways of teaching curriculum outside and connecting to place, in so many different areas of outdoor learning that it blows my mind. You are someone who inspires me, and I'm incredibly grateful that you are here. You are a salmon expert, but you are an incredibly important person to me too. I don't actually have a slide for you, Rebecca. I'm so sorry because my brain did a little. But Rebecca is the executive director of this organisation, Nature Kids BC. We also connect with each other through classrooms to communities and other outdoor learning spaces. But what you've done with Nature Kids BC of implementing a network of educators where people can be in their community, in their place, and build connection through incredible volunteer leaders and environmental education is mind-boggling. The magazine, if you haven't got it, the seasonal Nature Kids BC Nature Wild magazine, I should say. I'm very excited. Um, is exceptional, amazing things for you and young people in your life, whether you're an educator or not. And I am incredibly honoured to have both of you here to share with us about salmon. So thank you so much for bearing with me in my overly long intros.
Thank you so much, Jade. It's a privilege to be part of this community and to be sharing so much about salmon, and I see there are a lot of educators here today, so most of my focus is going to be on ways you can teach about salmon in your classroom or outside. And I have a slideshow for you. Just give me a second.
That looks
So
beautiful.
like you said, my name is Molly Cooperman, and I reside in the Shuswap area of Secwepemc, Hulu, and have grown up around salmon. I, when I was a child, this picture is actually myself and my son at the Adams River. And as a child, I was frequently during this time around Thanksgiving would go to the river and be able to see the amazing sockeye salmon spawning. And uh, I became a board member of the Adams River Salmon Society and still like to volunteer often. And this was from 2018. My son helped guide people to come and see the salmon. And I really believe that the more children we teach about salmon, I think they will care and they're basically our future. And Rebecca's going to talk a little bit about Nature Kids BC.
Well, thanks, Molly. Just really briefly, I'm here to support you and to say thank you to the Outdoor Learning Store for creating the space for all of us to learn about the salmon in this way from Molly. Nature Kids is Canada's largest community-driven family nature clubs network. We're in 35 communities in British Columbia, Canada, and we nurture nourishing and healthy relationships between children and their families and their communities, surrounded by their nearby nature. And we do this in partnership and collaboration with the community leaders like Molly. So I'm here to just really support Molly and say thank you so much for working with us to help bring the journey of the salmon, the life cycle of the salmon, to all of our families, not only the children, but the parents and the grandparents, the aunties and the guardians, that then can continue the conversation around the kitchen table, and we can learn as we walk alongside each other every day. So thanks very much, Molly.
Thank you, Rebecca. I'm honored to be part of Nature Kids. So in the things that Jade's going to be sending out after this presentation is you can make your own salmon hat. And so I got this idea at Kingfisher. We made these a few times. They're really fun. You can make them swim. You can wear them sideways. I think all you teachers out here, your class will love. They can color them themselves. They're easy to make. So look forward to that coming after. I have a video that I feel that it's hard for me to explain the connection of Indigenous people to salmon, but it is runs very deep, and so I thought this video would be a good way.
The salmon are so iconic for us. They're the very essence of, I believe in a way, of who we are. All through the millennia, and we welcomed them and said prayers and hoped that we respected them enough so that they would return the next cycle. We must have some reverence for them, to respect them and reciprocate the life that they give us. The oneness of creation, the whole. Everything is dependent on everything else, and we can't, for the sake of profit, forget the notion of honoring the balance and harmony and interconnectedness.
Give me a second.
Taking us on an adventure.
Let's see if I can get the next slide. Here we go. Okay, so during this presentation, I'd like to share some activities, some different tools and different resources. I'd like to point out that the Nature Kids has an online resource, and I did put the link there, but you can easily find it if you go to Nature Kids BC. But most of all, I'd like to go through the different parts of the Outdoor Learning Store Super Salmon Learning Kit. And wow, it's really great to have all different parts of it. And so I'm going to go through some of those as well as share about salmon. So this is the list of the Salmon Learning Kit. There are lots of different books, and then there's also different ways to learn about the life cycle, and I'll just go through some of them. So the two books that are included in the kit are Indigenous books. The Gift of Salmon is a great story for younger years, and it's a fun journey. And then the Sockeye Mother explores how the animals, water, soil, and seasons are all intertwined. There's also a book that's nonfiction, and for teachers out there, you might know Bobby Kalman. He's often writes really great books that are great for students to learn from. And this is kind of what's inside that book. And so there's details that students can read themselves, or the teacher can also get more information. In the toolkit, there are a few pocket naturalist guides. They fold out, and you can help them to identify both freshwater fish as well as saltwater fish. I'd like to point out that salmon, there's so many things that we as humans can learn from them. Things like courage. It's amazing what they do, and strength. They travel many distances, long distances, go up waterfalls. The incredible strength is, and the resilience. Salmon are able to, they travel through different places, and I'll go over the life cycle, but they are extremely resilient. And the perseverance, they just keep going and going, regardless of what is in their way. Determination, and also giving. During their life cycle, salmon give at every stage. In the beginning, as eggs, they're food for many different species, mostly birds, and then I'll kind of go through the life cycle in a few different ways. So this is a nice picture that shows where they start as eggs and then go to the elevin stage where they have a little yolk sac. And this happens in the fresh water. And then they go to fry. They're just small little fry. And that's when they need to find food for themselves. And so they go out looking for mostly insects in the water. And then they'll grow bigger, until in this life cycle, they call them par because the sides on the bigger fry, you can see the par marks. And then once they head towards the ocean, they're smolts, and smolts have to change their bodies. So they've grown up in the fresh water, but now they want to go and live in the ocean. So the estuary is a very important part of their life cycle for salmon. And that's where they have to both hide from predators, but they have to change their bodies so that they're able to live in saltwater. And then they spend quite a bit of time, depending what species, in the ocean. And there they feed on smaller fish and shrimp, and they get bigger and bigger until they become the spawning stage where they head back exactly where they were born. In the Pacific, so I notice a lot of us are coming from Western Canada. You might know that there are 5 different salmon species. In Atlantic Canada, we also have a salmon, Atlantic salmon. But on the Pacific, we have the biggest one, which is Chinook or king salmon. And then the sockeye, which are very famous from where I live. They go red and with the green head. The pink salmon are smaller, but they're amazing because they have to spawn and then go to the ocean and back in 2 years. All the other fish have the 4-year life cycle, but pink, they have to quickly spawn, lay their eggs, and then once they have to be back in 2 years. And the coho and chum salmon, if you're coming from the lower mainland, you might often see them and also raise them in your classroom. This is another diagram showing the life cycle and all the different species. This is part of the toolkit, and so a great way to life size, like a big size, to show your students. It also shows where the eggs are in the gravel, and then as they emerge as elevin with their little egg sacs. Oh, in the toolkit, there are these great little cards. And so there's a picture of, so on the top left, there's a spawner. So on the back side, as a teacher, you're able to kind of have cue card and look, and you can ask, there's different questions you can ask your students. And they're just great photos that show the life cycle. Also in our toolkit is the Run Salmon Run book, which Bob's and Lolo have also a song that goes with it, and it's a wonderful book. In the toolkit too are some great life cycle sequence cards. So there's different ways you can do kind of like a matching, and also great pictures that show the parts of the life cycle. We have it includes a little puppet. So I like to think of the little guy as a little fry, and it's got a great, so it's a finger puppet and fun for teachers and kids to play with. This is quite a great for the hands-on and visual learners, or even just to play with. And it shows all the different parts of the life cycle. They're small and great. I would imagine you could make other parts that then you would put these little salmon or little things within. So in the toolkit, so there's going to be different learning activities, so full descriptions of different activities and games that you can play with your students. This picture on the left is actually, you get it's a salmon that it's not really big, but so you can use that to create, kind of show students how the salmon would spawn, and they could also use it to play with too. And then I'll go through in the toolkit too. It describes what you might do outside on we call Explore Day Nature Kids, or just a field trip. And I'll go through some of the games as well. So Jade was saying she played this modification with her group on BC Rivers Day. So in the diagram, it kind of shows the salmon migration game, also known as Hooks and Ladders from Project Wild. This game is a lot of fun. I've seen whole school play, and it's has different stages. So you have skipping ropes for the waterfall, and it's a good movement too. As we all know, kids really enjoy and learn well when they're doing things. One game is called Salmon. I call it the Salmon Lifecycle Stages game, but it's also, you use rock, paper, scissors. And so the way it works is you start out everyone as a little egg, and you're rolled up as an egg, and then you rock, paper, scissors to different stages, and it really reinforces learning about the salmon life cycle. There's also one called Find Your Way Home, and it talks about you can experience what it's like to smell for the salmon. It includes this board game, which is great for learning where the salmon travels, as well as things that they might encounter along their way, all the challenges. Another great thing to do with when learning about salmon is do art activities. So there's coloring sheets you can get, as well as these are a few that I created with stones. You can see the salmon, so make a model colored stones. And in the far right, upper right, is what we call gyotaku. So you're taking a fish, I think you could probably do it with that model fish, is you put paint on it, and then you're printing that onto. My uncle did these with dead fish when I was younger, and sold them at the Salute to Sockeye, and we still have them, like everyone in my house. They're can be quite beautiful. Also, there's the Salmon Wild, which has great information. And then I just wanted to talk a little bit about factors affecting salmon. So salmon have natural, but also human caused. So when you're talking about resilience and salmon's perseverance and also that they're giving, so there's 131 different species throughout the salmon life cycle that you have salmon as food. And so that's incredibly important. There's also natural, and you might be hearing about this locally, the whirling disease in the Columbia has been spotted. And then sea lice is often talked about with when you put salmon in fish farms. And then human caused factors are things that are kind of obvious. Overfishing, if we fish too many, if we have the salmon farms that are affecting the wild salmon. Habitat, so salmon need a great habitat for shade and for the clean water. And then the big elephant in the room, climate change is definitely affecting salmon. With the salmon need cooler water to survive. I'd like to also point out that large hatcheries mostly up in Alaska, they produce many fish, and then those compete with our wild salmon. And this just is a kind of a diagram that shows those different factors. I just wanted to point out that salmon are so resilient. This shows the different numbers of fish that return to the Adams River. I just wanted to point out, if you can see at the bottom, it says 2010. There were 3.8 million fish that returned to the river. And that's something that, because they had so much food, and you never know. You can see they're getting less and less, but maybe next year there could be many, many salmon. They're amazing. This is just some pictures from that year of the fish. There's so many, and then towards the end. I'd like to point out that there are some websites that, if you're unsure where to find to spot salmon in your area, the Pacific Salmon Foundation has a really good one. And then we talked about those factors. I'd just like to point out some things that you can do in your class or with local community groups. Tree planting helps salmon immensely, both with like cleaner air and water and protection. And then others, citizen science, local community groups can look around. And coming to our questions part, I would like to just point out this person is Tiffany Furlong. And at the beginning, I talked about children are our future and youth are our future. Tiffany grew up along the Shuswap River, and she worked out at Kingfisher with me. And now she works for Department of Fisheries and Oceans as a community advisor. So if you like salmon and you like learning about salmon, there's lots ahead. And Jade, I think you have some questions.
I just have to find myself and allow myself back in. Oh, Molly, perfect balance of informational and inspirational. Lots of beautiful feedback. I don't know if you were keeping an eye there. People are really interested in your slide deck, the data, the graphs. I'm wondering if we could maybe make even parts of it into a PDF version or something, if you would feel comfortable.
Well, yeah, definitely, for sure. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
people are very interested. And I think what your presentation and obviously the kit you've built and many of the other things that you have designed over time are so cross-curricular. You can do art, even the games you can do as math class for counting. And just that data, introducing that if you're working with older students, for them to look at that data and do some analysis of that themselves, like, is incredibly powerful stuff. So thank you for all you do for the salmon. It's a beautiful thing. We need people doing that work.
Yeah, like an inquiry project too might be quite good for some of the factors affecting salmon. So for older students, they could choose one and they could research more, kind of thing. Yeah.
Totally. And I feel like if you're connecting this, there are lots of different Indigenous groups of people who've posted about them as well. But wherever you are, if you're connected to salmon in some way, or if you want to do a case study that compares salmon, if you live inland or away from that species, is there a species in your area that's under pressure? Can you look them up and do a comparative thing of what have folks done to make it better? What projects are being done that are both, let's say, Indigenous and non-Indigenous led? Are there, what collaborations are happening? It can be really, really powerful, even just to see what's being done.
Yeah, the Sequatmic fisheries do a lot.
We also have a book about the Elwha River if you're in the US. This is a river that's in California. And we actually have a free recording from World Rivers Day a couple of years ago with Robert Olofsson is the elder there from the First Nations, whose name I can't say in my mind right now, but you'll find it on our free resources page. That they did an enormous Indigenous-led biology science project, and they undammed that river, and now the salmon are, proliferating. It's going back to the days where they said, you could walk across the backs of the salmon across the river. And actually, my elder Shelley Boyd said that to me, that the stories are like in the past, you could walk across the backs of the salmon from one side of the river to the other during spawning. And of course, now here, right where I am, we only have kokanee, which are the landlocked salmon because of all the dams. But these stories of change and of embedding history but looking to the future are so valuable. Okay, couple of
Yeah.
questions. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Oh, just in Washington, they've stopped salmon farming. There's no more farming. Yeah.
Okay. And I know that there's communications and debates going on about that in BC at the moment. And that can be a really interesting thing if you have older students, right? To look into these. What are the pros and cons? Who are the stakeholders? What does that look like? Because we need the next generation of decision makers to be the folks who look at all sides of the argument and look at the different needs and wants of our communities, and are aware of that. And Serbi has created. I agree with you, Serbi. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. But even younger children have amazing ideas on such matters, and you're absolutely right. Okay, there's lots of folks sharing about all their excitement connecting to salmon. This is very good. Somebody asked earlier on, and I feel like you answered it all. I know because I've used the kit, but are the resources Pacific focused, or could you use that resource with Atlantic salmon if you're over on the other side?
I think some of them you could use because Atlantic salmon have a similar, I mean, they don't always die when they spawn, but they have a similar, like the egg and the similar life cycle. Yeah, so I think there's a lot that could be. Yeah, and then I mean, you could compare some things. Yeah.
Big fan of compare and contrast with species, and why might it be different over there, and what are the reasons that led to that sort of evolutionary path? Some folks are asking why was the return so great in 2010? Was it because of a hatchery? Do you have an understanding of that data, or is it all?
I think a big part was that the fish had a lot of food up in the ocean, and so there were so many. They grew and grew, and I don't know if there's an exact reason, to be honest. So it didn't have to do with the hatchery though, because those salmon would have spawned in the Adams River 4 years prior. And we don't have hatcheries where that was. Yeah. But there's a place called Bristol Bay where they do have hatcheries, and that's the largest sockeye spawning grounds. And you might have heard the fat bear week last week. Those are the bears that eat those salmon. Yeah.
Oh, wait, is this what I've seen on social media where they have videos of the fattest bears that they can find? Is that?
Yeah. Yeah. And they just feed off those millions of fish that spawn
Okay,
there. Yeah.
there
Yeah.
are some people really into this. My favorite week, Go 32 Chunk, which I'm imagining is a particular bear. It's so fun. You
Yeah.
get to
He won.
vote. I caught one clip, but I didn't realize there are so many different ways. And I think for those of us who even that connection then to larger mammals and the impact that's had, I've seen or read resources about how salmon that get dragged out of the river and then decompose improve soil quality on the riverbanks, which
And
allows,
the trees grow bigger too. If you come
yes,
to the Chuchuk Park, if you come to the Adams River, there are very large trees, and they've even actually drilled in and checked. There's DNA from the ocean from salmon in the tree.
Oh my goodness. So it's becoming one, it's great. And then if you have more trees on the banks, those banks are stabilized. That shade from that tree makes it much more comfortable temperatures for salmon spawning. And this cycle of interconnectivity is so magical. Okay, I'm really sorry. Someone's like, someone linked to the bears. So Genevieve, thank you for sharing the link to Bear Week, and also Heather. There was some very participatory people. Everyone's having a great time. Okay, another quick question for you. Someone says, I live in the Chicago area and I wonder how our Great Lakes impact your waterways in northern Canada, as far as warmer waters that may be coming from our more industrial areas.
Yeah, I mean, we're all connected. Turtle Island. Uh, there, as far as salmon, their salmon are, not sure about the Atlantic and the Great Lakes. I know they do come maybe through the St. Lawrence. I know that there are spawning salmon, like in the Toronto area. So yeah, I
Mm,
think the pollution from there would for sure affect.
yeah, it's going up from Lake Michigan and going to the Lake Michigan Harbor and Rivermouth. So I'm doing a quick Google, friends. And I think this is just one of those really powerful questioning tools. Okay, so where do our salmon go to and from? We have so much phenomenal available data now from like NOAA, which is data from the US and Canada about water temperatures. You could do an amazing temperature map that goes from where you are to where the salmon go to the ocean, and start to look at that. You could look at trends over multiple years or over climatic scales, which is around 30 years or more, right? You could do some phenomenal investigation about what impact is there. Could you test the water where you are with simple kits? We have simple water testing kits that are from water rangers. And there are so many citizen science websites now. In Canada, we have Living Lakes Canada, but there's opportunities in the US as well with different ones. And actually, Living Lakes Canada will take your data as well. But where you can contribute to the data set around water health in North America. So even if you do this as a one-off with your class, ideally you go once a month during the school year, whatever, if you don't freeze over or in the snow-free or ice-free months. And we've been doing that with my students. We do that with our grade 12 students. We go to a lake that is being redeveloped for a golf course, and we have tracked it. We have pre-golf course baseline, and now we're tracking it as they remove trees and as they will eventually. I'm not anti-golf, but just changing landscapes have impacts. So we're trying to really establish that. So if you, yeah, go and find out and let us know, please. We would love to. We would love to know what the outcome of that is.
Yeah, let's hope we have some more rain too. Salmon need more water and cooler water. Yeah. So often they'll cool at the mouth before they go up a stream waiting. They just know.
Mm. And I know you're the salmon person. But Robin's asking, is there a relationship between salmon and trout that you know of? They went to the deepest lake in Wisconsin, and sorry, I lost it. And because their son wanted to find lake trout that like cold and dark waters.
Yeah. I mean, they are related. Oncorhynchus is so trout and salmon are related.
Hmm,
Yeah. I
I
think
actually
they have
didn't
the
know
same
that.
genus.
Okay,
And
because
then rainbow trout are, I mean, they live in the same stream together, and so they might feed on the eggs of the spawning salmon. And then right now we also have fly fishermen that like to come and catch rainbow trout, catch and release in the Adams River, and so we're concerned about them stepping on where they lay the eggs is the red, So they're walking out in the stream. So we've been able to ban the during spawning season part of the river so that the fly fishermen don't go out. I mean, they do catch and release, and I mean, some people really like fish, and they like to, but yeah, the balance.
It's it's a really interesting one. I think this is one of those topics that has like a really great um conversation around wants and needs as humans and for our more than living relatives. And the fact that, you know, I think it's 97% of communities live within 100 kilometers of the coast, right? Because we built our places around access to fish. It has been such a huge resource for humanity as we've developed. And um, folks that love to fish and folks that don't eat fish or don't eat animals. And just, I love with students having a talk about balance and about wants and needs within these environments and what does relationship look like. And it's resources like this and sharing with children young so that it's not doesn't have a lens of any judgment about it, but just says these beings are important and they have this really complicated life. After we play the salmon, I can't remember what you call it, fish and ladders,
Hooks and ladders,
hooks
or
and ladders.
yeah, salmon migration game is another game.
That's what I called it. Yeah. The kids were really like out of breath, like huffed after having to go through all the skip ropes. And I said, you know, do you think it's easy to be a salmon? And they said, no. And I said, excuse me, and they said, oh yeah, okay, actually, it really is. It's really hard. And I said, that's it. Just even that recognition and that realization is so powerful, and to get them connected to place. Molly, we're running out of time because we're going to do prize giving, friends. You stick around. Molly and friends from the Adams River Salmon Society have got some phenomenal, couple of really cool hats and magazines about the journey. Sorry, my background, but I can't let you see how messy my office is. I just can't. Magazine. So for two lucky winners, plus we're giving away our regular 2 gift cards to the Outdoor Learning Store and Take Me Outside store. Molly, it's the greatest honor. I really love when I get to see you in person, which is not often enough because you run so many lovely events that I want to come to and learn from you. And I'm always, you know, busy and doing all the things. But I am so appreciative of all the energy that you put into educating and to writing resources, both for students and for educators. It is an absolute pleasure. Thank you for all you've done.
Thank you, Jay.
Obviously, yay! Rachel's there doing circular claps. Yay! There she is. Please feel free. You can turn your screen off or you can skedaddle if that feels good. Rebecca as well, thank you for all your work you're doing behind the scenes and for joining us. Okay, we're going to do prizes. Okay, stick around, friends. Participants, here we go. I'm going to pull up my list and I'm going to spell your names out awkwardly because then we can find you for the first 2 gifts, which are an amazing, again, so you each 2 people get an amazing Born to be Wild salmon hat and a magazine. It's a beautiful picture magazine. Yes, you can. Molly's going to choose, right? When she stops moving, when she snaps the jaws. Okay, Paul Lefrancois. So Paulefrancois. Paul Lefrancois, you are our first winner. We're going to contact you via email and then I'm going to ask for your mailing address and then we're going to send you. Okay. Second winner, could you give us another salmon grab, Molly? It's amazing. Okay, Jumping Moon. Angelique Sifrit. So Jumping Moon and Angelique, ANGELIQUESIFRIT. Angelique Sifrit. You are our second winner. Again, I'm going to email you. And you are gonna, we'll get your mailing address and we'll get this out to you. Okay, we need another couple of salmon picks there, Molly. Okay. I've got Steph Gurney, STEPHGUR NEY. Steph Gurney, you are a winner of a $25 gift card to the Outdoor Learning Store. So you can use that for resources like the cool salmon kit or courses, whatever feels good to you. Fantastic. Another winner, please, Salmon Molly. Sorry, you're just giving me life. And this is why I want to see you in person, because whenever Molly is presenting, there is energy, there is joy. Okay, I've got Adele Dietrich is our second winner to the Outdoor Learning Store. So Adele, Adele, and Dietrich is Dittrich. Adele Dietrich, well done. Okay, we have two more to give. Molly, if you're ready. Oh, we've got Erin from the BCSPCA West Kootenays. Erin, ERIN, from the BCSPCA. They do great work as well, by the way, everyone. From the West Kootenays, we're going to find you. And last, oh, you won a $25 gift card to the Take Me Outside store. Okay, final salmon snapping. Okay, I've got Nat Jelly. I'm hoping that's your real name. Nat, N-A-T, Jelly, Jelly. If not, maybe ping us a little message in the chat. You are our 6 winners for this evening. Tomorrow you will get, and if you don't get this even in your spam, ping us a message at info@outdoorlearning.com. You will get the opportunity, the PDF download for this superb salmon hat, delightfully modelled by Molly. You will get the link to the recording, any resources we shared. I'm going to get some of those important slides that you asked for. We're going to get a link to that YouTube video. Everyone was super keen to learn about that. And the other links that people requested, I'll make sure you get it. Your certificate, your link to get your certificate is in that email. You have to be in it to win it. You've got to read it, find that link, click it, and then you'll be able to access your certificate of participation. Oh my goodness, I am swimming with joy. Thank you so much, Rachel, for all the work you do. Okay, let's just swim it out. Okay, friends, happy Tuesday. See you next week. Hopefully, in a week's time, we're going to be doing some more fantastic outdoor learning. And if you haven't signed up, you can do that at outdoorlearning.com. Goodbye. Good evening.